because at the end of the day, that's my mother.
Like, what are you afraid of?
So if my mom and them don't like you, then what?
At least I've met them. At this point, they don't even know who I am.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Talking to you guys about Rodney and I believe his intruding mother. If you don't set your mother right, she will take over your life. So guys, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, you should like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, well, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals, you got the minerals. Let's get into the video. So obviously, as you saw the title of the video, if you don't control your mum will control you. I've watching Marrying Millions season 2. Just started watching it, episode 4. I'm a bit late. Someone told me to review it, and I said, okay, cool. This looks something like something I want to review. I started watching it. Obviously, we get introduced into Rodney and into Desiree. And what's really interesting about Rodney is the fact that I know some people have already commented. Some people have already told me they think Rodney is gay. That's beside the point. Anyway, let's get into the real crux of the issue here is that we have a conversation between Rodney and Desiree, and you guys already know I love talking about PEW, which is all about stating your position, your expectation, and your wants. And there's a conversation between Rodney and a conversation between Desiree on the, I think the Skype kind of call, whatever, and where she alliterates, or I should say, begins to articulate what her position is.
I'm going to meet his parents, and I'm not going to waver. Because I can't keep doing this, going back and forth, back and forth.
I'm just right now, just a little.
You know, she says, you know, I like you, I want to really be with you, but here's my expectation. My expectation is that, listen, you got to show me to your parents. Like, listen, I know you're not doing it to my friends just yet, but to your parents, you have to do it. You ain't got a choice. Like, in fact, we're not arguing about this. It has to be done. Otherwise, consequence to the action is I leave.
Putting my foot down now. Even if I don't meet your friends, I have to meet your mom and your dad. If you value this relationship, if you really want me for your wife.
Right? As she stated her position and her wants, Rodney had a choice. Do I acknowledge your position expectation? And do I match that with what I want, or do I back away? And so what you hear is this conversation between Rodney and Desiree. And the question I guess most people might be asking here is that why has Rodney taken so long to introduce either his family or his friends to Desiree? I mean, there can be a number of reasons why someone might not do it. Genuinely, they may be scared. I think the real reason why anyone doesn't want to show someone to their parents, there are negatives and there are negatives, all right? And the negatives can be the family negative or the individual person you're dating themselves. If you look at Rodney and Desiree, Rodney actually gave us an example as to why, and I kind of felt it, why he felt like he didn't want to introduce Desiree into his parents, or to his ailing mother, right? And the reason why is because both the mother and Desiree have a certain mouth that when they begin to speak in the same room, there's going to be a collision. Now, this collision is not going to be great.
You know, sometimes my mother could be a little hard on people.
I'm a little nervous about introducing Desiree to my mom right now because she's very conservative, and Desiree is always on 1,000.
For anybody, right? So there's negatives on both sides for Rodney. So oftentimes in relationships, the reason why someone hasn't introduced you to their family is because maybe the family is a bit whacked up. Maybe the family's a bit mad. Maybe the family isn't a true representation of the individual that you're dating, and they don't want you to get the wrong idea. Maybe, truth be told, sometimes the family is dysfunctional in some shape or form, and they don't want that embarrassment or that shame of you seeing that family in that way. Maybe they see your family and your unified family, the fact that you guys are functional, you're loving, you really want to see each other flourish and win. And then when he realizes that when he or she sees their family, they're not seeing that particular behavior in their family. They're seeing something completely different. And so therefore, when they look at you, they're like, I don't want to bring you into that dysfunction. I don't want to bring you into that chaos. I don't want to bring you into that thing to embarrass, so that I feel embarrassed about the fact that that's my family, right? And so someone else, unless you articulate that, it can be very difficult to understand that for another person, because it will look like you're hiding them away from your family. And you know, the implications of hiding someone away from your family is that maybe you're not serious about them. Maybe you don't want a relationship. Maybe you are just having a temporary bit of fun, right? Because we associate you meeting the family as being a serious move in a relationship, right? One doesn't just bring their girl or their boy to their parents' circle, right? And so there's always a twofold prong. But we get to see that obviously Rodney's actual kind of situation here with his own mother is that his mother is very sharp with her tongue. And I always say this, listen, your mother could be sharp, but there must be a boundary for you.
That I'm very opinionated, but I just feel like I need to be truthful to my son. That's dry.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't want to hear the truth.
For you, there must be a boundary. And I always say this, look, the parent can intrude as much as they want to intrude, so long as you allow them to, right? There's a level of respect we show to our parents, but it has to come to a point where you have to realize two shall become one. The father the husband should leave his parents' house and cleave to his wife, right? So when you know that, what you begin to understand and what you begin to see in this particular thing is that Rodney hasn't set up boundaries with his mother. And the reason why he hasn't set those boundaries up is he explains is because he loves his mother, number one. Number two, they haven't never had a great relationship. So now she's trying to, or he or she, or both of them are trying to make their relationship work. What the person is doing is compromising on the fact that they actually need the help. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say they need the help. They're compromising because they're saying that I will do whatever I need to do in order to keep you in my life.
I have a little bit of a complicated relationship. We never had that type of mother-son relationship growing up. Sometimes I feel like she's not proud of me.
Therefore, I'm willing to accept a lower standard in terms of how you behave in my family or in my life because I want to keep you in there. How many times do you see that in a natural relationship as well, right? And so the value of having a parent now is at the cost of having a partner. Now you got to begin to decide, how am I going to stop that from happening? Because what you can't do is do either or. You don't really want to do that. You don't want to get to that place. What do? You set up boundaries. And the mother probably hasn't respected those boundaries because he's never put up boundaries. So once he puts up those boundaries and states, listen, mother, listen, this is my woman that I love and I want to be with. Okay, there's a level that I'm willing to accept you to enter into, to intrude and to interrupt. But where you're going to, I can't agree with it. Stop right there. You see, when I'm dealing with, adults are just like kids, right? When I want to discipline a kid, yeah, I remember I've babysat and I've looked after people's children before. I don't beat them like I did. I ain't gonna lie to you, I beat my little sisters, man, and little brothers. I beat them to discipline them. I beat them. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm dealing with other people's kids, I can't beat your kid. That's not my kid. I'm not getting involved in that. Do you understand? What I will do now is institute an authoritarian in the place of that person's life and begin to establish boundaries. And with those boundaries come consequences when you cross those boundaries. Here's the thing. When the consequences come, you must go through those consequences, right? And so that Rodney's at a place where now he needs to establish boundary and establish consequence for crossing that boundary so that his mother can have her place, right? Then when he goes to Desiree, he can also say to Desiree, because he said obviously she's got a sharp mouth and he's scared of that. And listen, there are a lot of us guys who, when we've in the past may have dated a woman who we felt has got a sharp mouth or it has the ability to say something that could unlock the whole room. Then what we are scared sometimes to bring them in front of family, and what you tend to do then is you're trying to protect her by not bringing them around the family, and I get that. It makes a lot of sense, and I get that. That makes a lot of sense. And so what Rodney is doing is trying to avoid World War III, but he too also has to establish a boundary for Desiree to say, hey, listen, let me tell you something. Look, you've got a bit of a sharp mouth. And I appreciate that about you in certain circumstances, right? You lace it a bit of sugar. I always tell you this, guys. I appreciate that about you, but I want to let you know, listen, when you're in my family household, that can't run. Yeah? I know my mum's a bit sharp. I've told her, I've warned her too. And I'm warning you too. Don't behave in that way, right? And because as a man, you were meant to establish the boundaries. You see, the lion establishes a boundary so that other lions, when they come, they know that once they cross it, they want beef. The same thing with what as a man you're meant to do. Establish lines and boundaries for those of people around you so you know that, listen, hey, if you step that line, you want beef. And I'm not talking about physical beef. I'm talking about you want me to address this issue now. You understand? And so let people know that you're serious by issuing the consequence and by following through the consequences. You get me? So I knew that obviously the Rodney and the Desiree situation was going to be a problem. The mom is obviously opinionated. And I will say this, are you opinionated? Are you truthful? Or are you really just rude?
We would love to meet your friend and all that.
Probably not this weekend.
I want for Rodney to have a wife.
and you're masking it with I'm opinionated, I'm true. No, oftentimes people aren't true and people aren't really opinionated. They're just rude. Do you understand? And that, they mask it with that because I'm the realist, I'm the realist. No, you're not the realist, you're the rudest. Okay? And no one's told you yet. No one's checked you yet. That's why you continue what you're doing. You understand? And until someone stands up and tells you, listen, your behavior hurts me, stop it. Otherwise, I can't be around you. They don't respect that. They won't respect until you tell them about that. Do you understand? So his mother's going to keep doing what she's doing because she knows her son's going to accept it. And then it was interesting as well that again, I guess this is where it's getting very techie or very into some dangerous grounds, is that when addressing his mother, he doesn't say his wife, he doesn't say his girlfriend at first. He says,
Anyone in particular?
And I do have one, friend I've been hanging out with.
Really?
friend, I want to introduce you to my friend. That's an issue. You have a girlfriend, sir, not a friend. So if you are talking to your mother and you're fearful of your mother and you say, I want to introduce you to my friend, that the mum even deduces that it is your girlfriend, then you've got a problem. Why? Because you're not able to be strong and articulate that you have a girlfriend, right? Which is what you have. And that's a problem in the long run, because it means that you won't be able to set up a boundary to stop your mother from intruding on your relationship. Okay? So this is very, very important to understand, and for us to really be able to go forward with, that one must understand that, hey, in order for me to progress with you, the Bible says, Amos 3 verse 3, how can two walk together unless they agree? I'm not agreeing with what you're doing right now if you're going to misbehave and not respect my boundaries. So Rodney has a job to do. Respect my boundaries. For anybody out there, if you're in relationships and you're dealing with a mother-in-law, your partner, whatever, children even, set up boundaries and say, respect my boundaries. Otherwise, here's a consequence, and follow through. All right, guys. That's all I'm going to say. If you've got any other comments, please comment down below. Let us know your thoughts, your views, and we appreciate you. Stay locked, stay loaded. More love. All right, you already know what it is. Little black buck, you know what time it is. Appreciate you.